And alright, so we want new sunglasses. What else do I want? A computer. Can never have too many computers. I want some paintings. Did I spell that wrong? Good. Perfect. Paintings for my walls. And by the way, why am I saying this? Because I'm in my office right now, and on my walls there are like 4 hooks where paintings or photos or something should go, and I don't have any paintings or anything to hang on there. So now I just have 4 dumb looking hooks on my wall. So anyways, I want some paintings for my walls. Alright, and last but not least, I want a Hot Pocket because Hot Pocket, hey, close enough. Everyone needs a Hot Pocket on Christmas. It's just like a rule. So let's go ahead and save this, and now you can see what an unordered list looks like. See, like I told you, it's just a bunch of bullet points. So anytime you want to make a list and they don't need to be in particular order, this is what type of list you would use. Again, the keyword is UL and the items in it are LI. So let's go ahead and change this up. And now, since they made something called an unordered list, you'd figure it only makes sense for them to make an ordered list. Well, if you thought that, then you're right. So an ordered list is keyword OL, and let me just go ahead and end this, OL, and you put items in here just the same as you would an unordered list. The only difference between an unordered list and an ordered list is whenever you make an ordered list, things are going to appear numbered. First item is going to be 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. You don't need to number them explicitly. Your browser is going to do that for you automatically. So let me go ahead and show you. Again, to add a list item in an order list is the exact same as an unordered list. Just go ahead and put LI and end it with end LI. Let's just go ahead and copy this and paste this baby right now. Paste, paste, paste. So the first thing in my order list, so first of all, let's back up. Why would you use an order list? Well, say you wanted to give someone directions or instructions how to do something. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and or maybe, you know, the top 10 movies you want to see this summer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know, anytime you want an order list, use the order list. Fair enough. So let's go ahead and make an order list and instructions on how to have a wonderful day. So number 1, go to YouTube. And notice I'm not typing number 1 anywhere because my browser is going to do that for me automatically. Step 2, type in the new Boston. Step 3, watch all the videos that pop up. And step 4, eat a Hot Pocket, because we got to throw a Hot Pocket in there sometime. So that is the instructions on how to have a wonderful day. So let's go ahead and save this and refresh it and see what we got. As you can see, it automatically numbered our list for us, so that saves us the trouble of, you know, having to do it ourselves. And it's also convenient when you have to go back and change something, it's going to reorder it for you automatically. So that is the basics of how to create an unordered list and an ordered list. You're going to be using them a lot more frequently than you think in web design, so get to know them. They're pretty easy to understand, so that's it. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask me on my forum at thenewboston.com, and either I or someone else will answer them for you. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Alright guys, welcome back to your 16th XHTML and CSS tutorial, and I know what you guys are thinking, so don't even say. All you guys are like, alright Bucky, we are on our 16th XHTML and CSS tutorial, and I don't even know what the heck CSS is yet. All you've been teaching me is XHTML, and that is about to change in this tutorial. Let me tell you that first of all. Second of all, let me explain to you guys the differences between XHTML and CSS. XHTML, as you can see already, is pretty much the basic building blocks for a website. How to add all the main elements to your website, like images, headings, paragraphs, text, links. It's all the core foundation stuff. Now what CSS does is it makes it pretty. It gives you a nice pretty layout, adds colors to your font, changes the font itself, spaces everything out nice and neat. So if XHTML is the core foundation you need, CSS is like the designer. It makes everything pretty, makes everything look real nice. So let's go ahead and let me show you guys how to use this special thing called CSS. I just better throw this in there because I'd feel empty if I didn't. CSS stands for cascading style sheet. Why they named it that, I don't know. They could have named it something a little easier, but that's what it means. So now, how do you use this special magical thing called CSS? Well, you know how we've been working in the body? Let's go ahead and pop up into the head and add some special tags. We need to add 2 style tags. A style open. Did I accidentally type? Alright, STY. That's weird. That accidentally typed a whole new word and it wasn't even on my mind. So style and an ending style. So for your first style, you need one attribute, and that is called type. And you need to set this equal to text/CSS. So now whatever goes in between your opening and your closing style tags is going to be the CSS itself. So whenever you are making CSS, you need this every time, no exception, and it needs to be in the head. So let's go ahead and in between these style tags, how are we going to start making our website look pretty? Well, let's go ahead and make a basic website first, and we'll just write this is normal text, and let's go ahead and make a paragraph and write this is paragraph text, and make sure you spell everything wrong. So let's go ahead and refresh it and check it out. This is our normal text, this is paragraph text. Pretty dumb and boring. So let's use CSS to spice things up a bit. Say, you know what, we're just going to leave this normal, but for the paragraph, what we want to do to this is maybe we want to turn it blue and change the font, because this font is pretty dumb. What is it, like Times New Roman or something? Who uses that anymore? So let's go ahead and in order to change any element on your website, in between your style tags, the first thing you have to do is type the name of that element, the keyword. And whatever a paragraph is, or let me say this, the element name is whatever is in between the brackets. So a paragraph is P, so go ahead and type P. Now press space, and after that, you need to add these little swivelly curly brackets, whatever they're called. Now we already know we want to do something with P, so in between the curly brackets you type what you want to change. The first thing you need to do is type what property you want to change, and there's like 1,000 different properties on a paragraph, like any of the color, the text, and you don't have to memorize them all. Usually people just go to a website and there's a big reference table of all the things you can change about it, but for now I'll give you guys something simple. One of the properties that you can change with a paragraph is its color, the text color. So go ahead and type color and then put a colon. And now, after you have the property listed, you write the value, what you want to change it to. So I know I want to change the color, and I want to change it to blue. Now once you're done with everything, go ahead and put a semicolon and you're good to go. So here's how it goes. This is called your selector. What element do you want to change? This color is called the property. What do you want to change about it? And this last thing is called the value. What do you want to change it to? So I want to take all my paragraphs and change the text color to blue. Simple enough. So let's go ahead and save this and refresh it and check it out. Our paragraph text is now blue. So that is how you can use a really simple style sheet, this whole thing is called a style sheet, to change any element on your website. So we're saying, alright Bucky, that's cool, but what if I want to do a little bit more to the paragraph? What if not only do I want to make the text blue, but maybe I want to change the font as well? So in order to add more than one rule to your element, all you do is this. After your semicolon, you can go ahead and type another property and value. And I'm not expecting you guys to memorize all the properties. I don't even memorize all the properties. But in order to change the font, you need the property name font minus family, and go ahead and add your colon. And as the value, let's just go ahead and change this to something like AR Arial. And remember, once you're done with a rule, go ahead and add your semicolon, save it, and let's see what we got. Nice, very nice. So this is regular dumb old font, and this is nice blue looking Arial font. So anytime in our website where it comes across something in a paragraph, this is what it's going to do to it. And if you're saying, alright, this is pretty cool, but it would be a lot more easy if this was, a little more readable. So what people usually do is they separate each rule on a line. So maybe the colors on the first line and the font family can be on the second line. And I usually just take this last bracket and put it right there because then I can see easier when it ends. But if you want to, maybe line all your rules up, it really doesn't matter. CSS is white space insensitive, so it doesn't matter how much white space is in between. You can either add that much and it'll still work fine, but who the heck would want to do that? So, whatever works for you, whatever makes it readable for you, use it. So, anyways, what I want to stress is in order to use CSS, you first need style tags in your head. You need to make the type text/CSS. And for the style themselves, you need a selector, which is basically which XHTML element do you want to change. You need a property, what do you want to change about it, and a value, what do you want to change it to. So that's the basics of CSS and style sheets. In the next couple tutorials, we're going to be working more with style sheets, and if you don't quite grasp the concept yet, just watch my next tutorials and I promise I'll clear things up for you. Once you've seen this like 3 times, you'll be an expert at it. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to check out my website. See you later. What's up guys? Welcome to your 17th XHTML and CSS tutorial. And in this tutorial, I'm going to be building a basic website and applying some sweet CSS properties to it. So let's go ahead and get started and build just a starter quick little website. Put a header at the top, H1, and make this website Bucky's Bacon Wagon. Just imagine a wagon with a bunch of bacon in it, and there you go. And now let's just go ahead and add a paragraph. Actually, tighten that up a bit. That's what she said. And we'll just add 1 paragraph. That's good enough for now. And we'll just put like best on this side of the best bacon on this side of the Mississippi, exclamation point and space. So let's go ahead and make a copy this, and we just need some text, so just fill that in like that so we have actually a paragraph that's more than 1 line. So we have a header, H1, and a paragraph. So if we save that and looked at it right now, here is what we have. But this website, although the idea is good, a bacon wagon sounds like a pretty good idea, the website needs some work. So let's go ahead and let's change the color of this and also make this a little more readable. So what I want to do first is we need to add that style sheet that we talked about last time. So style equals, or excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself, type equals text/CSS, and remember you also need the ending style tag. Now everything in between here is going to be one of the rules. So the first thing we want to work with is that header. I mean, this plain black header, we can do better than that. So let's go ahead and make a rule to change the color on that. So the element we're working with is H1, and in our curly braces, the property that we want to change is color. Now, before I told you guys that you can just make it something like red, and that's good. So let's go ahead and refresh this, and now it's red. But what if you're saying, well, everyone has red on their webpage. I want mine to be a little different. I want mine to be the color of bacon. So what you can use, aside from just keywords like red, blue, green, is you can actually use something called RGB value. Now, if you don't have Photoshop, because that's where I use mine, you can go to pretty much to any website or go to Google and type in RGB values and it'll give you a list of RGB values. But whenever I'm looking for a specific color on my website, here's what I do. I go in the Photoshop and I click this thing called a color picker, and I make sure that I'm working with only web colors, and I can scroll down to the color that I'm looking for and highlight over it, and then I just copy this, and this is the RGB value. That stands for red, blue, and green. So what I want to stress is not only do you have to use keywords, but you can also use RGB as well. And anytime you do that, you go ahead and put the pound sign and then paste that 6-digit color in there. So now if we go ahead and save this and refresh it, instead of red, we get this brown, dark brown, cooked burnt bacon looking color. So that's a little better. Again, if you're just building a basic website, then the keyword is fine. But anytime you want like a really specific color, then you need to use that RGB value. So I just want to tell you guys that you have more options than, just the colors in your head. So aside from this, I mean, our Buc-ee's Bacon Wagon is looking brown and it's looking pretty beautiful, but you may say, alright, this paragraph right here, this isn't really readable to the user. Maybe these lines are too close together, or maybe you just want to space them out so we can fill this website a little better. So anytime you want to space out the lines, you need to use a property called line height. So let's go ahead and first tell CSS that we're going to be working with our paragraph. We'll do that by typing P. And in our curly braces, go ahead and type line height as the property. And now we can set this equal to a percentage. By default, it's at 100% right now. So if you want to space them out a little bit, go ahead and type like 130%, like that. And now add your semicolon at the end. Let me save it, and let me refresh this in front of you. And you guys can see when I refresh what happens to the spacing. Let me refresh, and I didn't save it or something. Line height 130%. It looks good. And okay, I must have okay, let's try this one more time. There we go. So I changed it to 150%, and as you can see, the line height grew. Or, well, I mean, I can't even explain it as well. I can just show you. So let me change this to like 170. 170 is good enough, and I'll show you guys one more time what happens. Right like that. So what happens is you get more space in between your lines, aka line height. So, I'm not going to explain to you guys what line height means because I just showed you. But anyways, I usually like somewhere around 125, 130%. So, I mean, let me go ahead and refresh this, and it makes it more readable than it did by just having a default paragraph. So that is the basics of how to change color. Remember, take away from this tutorial, not only can you use just common colors like red, blue, green, you can also use RGB value, and last thing, you can use something called a hexadecimal value. I think that's how you say it, but don't ever use that because no one ever does that. And again, with line height, anytime you want to change the line height, this is the property, and change it to a percentage of different than what it is to make it more readable. So that is two basic property values I want to show you guys. And these might not be the most common properties that you want to change on your website, but I just wanted to illustrate the point, and I just wanted to go over CSS again. So hopefully the idea of what element you want to change and what you want to change to is sticking in your head now. So now that you understand this concept of basic style sheeting, we can move on to the next tutorial. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to watch the next tutorial, and I guess I'll see you then. What's up, guys? Welcome back to your 18th XHTML tutorial. And in this tutorial, I'm going to go over the correct way to bold and italicize text. So I remember probably 10 tutorials ago, I showed you guys how to bold and italicize text by surrounding them with special tags. And while this is indeed a valid way, you actually can do that and it'll work in most browsers, it's not the best way, and it's not going to be the way that people do it in the future. So a better way to bold and italicize text is through CSS. Anytime you change any element or change any of the properties of XHTML, it's better to use CSS other than, surrounding text with bold tags or something like that. So here is a lot better and more modern way, I guess you could say, of how to make text bold and how to italicize text. So let's go ahead, and before we can, start bolding and italicizing stuff, we actually need something to bold. So let's go ahead and make two lists. An unordered list, and let me just end this. And I guess we can just put one element in there. We don't need a bunch of elements in there. So for the first and only element, I'll just put unordered list, and make sure you spell it. Dang, did I spell that right? I better not have. And let's just go ahead and copy this, and we'll change this one to ordered list. And since they both have the li, We just need to change 2 letters. So we have one unordered list and one ordered list. So we just need, I mean, you can use paragraphs or headers or whatever you want. I just needed something to throw in there. So anyways, in order to make the style, what you need to do is first write what element you want to change, unordered list, and then you write what property do you want to change, the font weight, and that is the technical term for how thick the font is. You can use values. I think 500 is the default value, so you can use something like 900, 800 to make it, if you say you want it bold, like varying degrees of boldness, I can say, but I don't think too many people care that specific how bold they want it. I mean, did you ever hear a guy says, yeah, that's bold, but I want it bolder? No one says that. So anyways, you can just throw in bold as your value, and you'll be happy most of the time. So let's go ahead and that is the proper way, I want to say, in order to bold font. So in order to italicize font, go ahead and we'll italicize the order list we just made, and go ahead, and the property is font style, and as the style, just go ahead and write italic, and this is going to italic or italicize any of your ordered list. So let's go ahead and save this and refresh it and see what we get. We got one unordered list that is bolded and one ordered list that is italicized. So again, like I said, while you can technically surround it in those B bold tags or EM emphasis tags, this is a lot easier way, and it's pretty much the correct way to do stuff. That old stuff was kind of old school, and this is the new school. So get used to this, and you'll thank me later on. So anyways, that's all I have for you guys for this tutorial. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Alright guys, your 19th XHTML and CSS tutorial, and this is going to be a sweet one. So what I want to teach you guys first is how to properly align text like center justified, and you can also make it left justified, which it is by default, or make it right justified. So the first thing that we need is something that we can center on our page. So just go ahead and make something like a header 3. Header 1's just too big. I don't like them. So make a website. Let's see what I would have like if I made a blog. So Bucky's blog. And that looks pretty good. So that's what we want the title to be. But if we go ahead and save it right now, look at this. It's on the left hand side of our website, and that just looks dumb. Title should never be on the left hand side. What is this, like I don't know. I can't think of a good example, but I want this title in the middle is what I'm trying to say. So in order to do that, go ahead and write header 3, of course, and inside your curly brackets, the property that we need to change is called text minus or dash. I wonder what the correct term for that minus sign is. If you know, leave me a comment so I won't mess up in the future tutorials. Anyways, text minus a line, and you can either have there's one of 4 things you can do. Left, which is by default, which you just saw. Center, which we're going to make this. Right, and I think there's one called justified. Now justified, and I never use this one, people usually don't, but I think it's like what newspapers use, where it's left and right justified. So anyways, play around with that if you want, but I want my text centered. So let's go ahead and save this and see what we get. Refresh and check it out. Our title is now centered perfectly on our webpage. Pretty sweet, huh? So now that we have a blog, let's go ahead and blog about something. So I'm going to go ahead and make a paragraph. And I'm just going to write, this is the best day ever. And let's just go ahead and paste this a bunch, because I really want to get my point across that this is indeed the best day ever. So I'm going to write it like 8,000 times. So let's go ahead and save this and refresh. And it says, alright, this is looking pretty good, but we can't really, this first line doesn't really stand out. It would be sweet if we could just indent this right here. So you get this brilliant idea to go in here and write space, 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 about 15 spaces. That looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and save this, refresh, and what the heck? What's going on? It's not working. Did we break it? No. Remember that XHTML is white space insensitive. So it takes that white space and pretty much is like, yeah, I'm just going to ignore that. So anytime we want to add an indent on our paragraph, which you want to do a lot of the time actually, you need to add a special property called text indent. Now, text minus or dash, who knows, indent is spelled like that. And you can either do this as a percentage, I believe, or what everyone just normally does is they use a certain number of pixels. How many pixels do you want to indent it? In order to do that, just write the number of pixels and write px after it. So now once we go ahead and save it, it's going to go ahead and indent that 25 pixels. Or again, you don't have to indent it 25. You can indent whatever number you like. But that is how you indent text in a paragraph. So anyways, if you're trying to indent it like this before and it wasn't working, that's why. Because XHTML is just going to ignore your white space and do what it wants. So that's how you make paragraphs indented. So now that we have time, let's go over something cool that you guys are probably wondering what to do. And I probably should have covered this in like one of the first CSS tutorials, but hey, we'll cover it now. In order to change the overall font, or excuse me, the overall color of the text, as well as the background of the entire web page, you need to edit the body element right here. So let's go ahead and type body right there, because we're pretty much, this means affect the whole website. So what do we want to do to affect the whole website? Well, the first thing that we want to do is let's go ahead and change the background color. And you know what the property for this is? Well, if you guess background minus color, you are correct. So let me make sure I spelled that right. Background color, yep. And let's go ahead and change it to something like blue. That should look pretty good. And after this, so now check it out. Our website is going to appear blue with black text. But I mean, that's not the easiest stuff to read. So if we have a dark blue background, it would be a lot easier to read if all this text was white, kind of just like that. So let's go ahead and do that. And in order to make our text white, we can do this in one of two different ways. We can go ahead and make our headers white, and make our paragraphs white, and make everything else white. Or what we can do is we can just go ahead and add a color white property, like this, color white property, to the body. And since everything else is in the body, it's going to get affected as well. So it's a lot easier than going through each one of your elements and changing it to white. Just change your overall body to white, and that's going to affect anything that's in it. So let's go ahead and save that and see what we get. Nice. That is a lot easier to read, and this website is looking pretty good, mostly because it says Bucky on there, and I'm just an awesome guy. So anyways, that is how you affect body, background color, and the text color, and also center align headers, or pretty much center align anything, and also indent paragraphs. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm guessing you did. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Alright guys, now that we know how to change the background color, let's spice things up even more. Let's learn how to add images as the background. So the first thing that we need to do is make sure that we have our body tags in here, because that's what we're going to be editing, that background of the body. So go ahead and as your element, go ahead and type body and give you some space to work with. And the first thing I want to teach you guys is how to add an image as the background. So again, make sure that whatever directory you're working in, let me minimize this a little bit. Make sure whatever directory you're working in that you have, see, I'm working at this file right here, the index. Make sure you have an image file, either a GIF or a JPEG or a PNG, in the same folder as the file you're working on. And I have a little, you can see my face right here, a little picture file called myface.png. So remember that, because that's going to come in handy in about 5 seconds. So in order to add an image for our background, you need the property background minus image, and for the value you need to set it to this URL, and then go ahead and put parentheses. Now inside the parentheses, go ahead and type the name of the file, myface.png. Now go ahead and add your semicolon, and this is how you change the background image. So a lot of you guys might think that just put background image and then the file name. No, that's not it. Make sure you have that URL or it's just not going to work. So let's go ahead and save this and see what we get.